What up, y'all? This is Chris Spenser, and guess what I'm doing? I'm chopping it up with Buck.
Well, welcome to Chopping It Up with Buck. I got my guy, man. How long have we been trying to do this, Chris?
Let's see, we graduated 89 and 90, so at least 3 or 4 years, right?
Yeah, every time we run into each other, we talk about getting together and doing something. Yep. I mean, he's Chris Spenser in the entertainment industry. We've known each other a long time. He was the dude that came out on the basketball court, and I am talking cold cash-ish all the time.
That's the only time I can compete with y'all. My J was wet. My J
Chris
was
had
wet.
some game, and we had a good run back in the day. But you and Sully,
oh my God,
come out there and talk all that trash. They were joning the whole time. Every game y'all came out to, you just joned on us, and we got to know each other. And sitting on the yard, man. Yes. Let's talk about those days back in the Bruin land with us.
The bear on Wednesdays. Remember that?
Chris, people don't believe you. Yeah.
Go ahead. Tell them.
Well, what they don't believe that we had MC Hammer, Tupac when he was with Digital Underground, Will, and all of Jazzy Jeff, Public Enemy. Enemy. You name it. We had all. Yeah.
Listen, my first paid gig was at Ackerman for Public Enemy. Andre Farr brought me to open for Public Enemy. Yeah. I had 5 minutes of material. Public Enemy was 45 minutes late. I bombed for 40 minutes.
So, Chris,
I remember my last joke, somebody heckled me, and I said, "Hey, man, why are you messing with me while I'm at work? I don't come to your job and bounce on the bed." The crowd screamed, and it was exactly the same time Andre said, "They're here, they're here." I was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, Public Enemy." And then I went downstairs and cried in the corner because it was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my life.
What year was that? Because I think I was there. I know I was there. What year was that?
1989, another summer, getting down.
That was.
Sounds of the fucking drummer. It almost felt like they wrote the song for us.
Well, it's crazy, man, when you think back to those times, because if you think about it, what was it like going to UCLA before you got into the entertainment industry? Because a lot of folks had their sons and daughters that came to school there. I mean, Lorenz Tate's brother and I were in the summer school class.
Yeah. I talked to
Wright's
LeBron all the time.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many brothers and sisters that came through, and some, would just chill. You never know. And then you see them on TV later, and you see them in different things. So what was that like in that experience, being in Cali, but going to a school like UCLA, setting you up for success?
Well, here's what's great. If you can't, I was talking about the bear on Wednesdays. UCLA was a mainstream, mainly white and Asian school, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But on Wednesdays at the Bear, you would have thought you were at Howard University.
Yep.
So it was it was a blackout. It was like, and sometimes you'd miss class because you'd be having so much fun at the Bear on Wednesdays. And so in terms of entertainment, I went there to be a theater major. I didn't get into the film major. I didn't get into the film program, but I still did plays and short films with the directors and producers that were in the program. So it was great. It was a great experience. No, let me take it back. I didn't apply for the film program. My mom was like, "You're gonna do that anyway. I need a real degree." So I majored in sociology, and I still was able to work and do things in the theater department and with the film department with my friends or people I just met going to UCLA.
Yeah. The other thing that I liked about UCLA was a social justice aspect. You talked about it. There wasn't a whole lot of us there at school, but you knew we all had a purpose. Apartheid was going on at the time. We had something. Yeah. We were involved in that stuff, and it was great to see then and still see now.
Remember, on any given day, the whole school, we would all have on some kind of, we all wore the little leather necklace with the Africa symbol, or we had on those little kente cloth baseball caps, Like we were really, really cultural. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't anybody to do a sit-in or fast.
Yeah.
And luckily we
Yeah.
kind of missed that era because I heard like right before we got there was a lot of that. But
Yeah.
when it was time for us to talk about getting together, structure, march, we were about it.
Yeah.
I just
So
think we was only 18 and 19.
I know, man. I know. And I was 17 going to college, actually. You know, I
Yeah.
was a young freshman, as a matter of fact.
Right.
So, Chris, tell me when you left school. You know, we talked about it before, but how did you were involved with the Wayans? I mean, you've had so many different connections. Jamie Foxx. You know, me and Kevin and I were
Right.
talking about, my producer were talking about you on Jamie Foxx show just the other day. You know, you and I bumped into each other in Atlanta. You were with Anthony Anderson and you know, a
Yes.
bunch of other folks just hanging out because I know you were doing things in Atlanta. Tell me how you got into that and what was it? What I knew you as a comedian, you wanted to do that, but you really wanted to write, produce, and direct. Tell me about your
No,
your
no,
journey.
so I did not want, I didn't even care about writing, producing, and directing.
Really?
My goal was to be Eddie Murphy. Most young
Okay.
comedians,
Okay.
we're trying to be Eddie Murphy, Damon Wayans. So when I started doing stand-up, Sean Wayans and I were very close. For her birthday, she wanted me to buy her a $2,700 Louis Vuitton purse. I said, really? You need to go find a purse equivalent to the amount of money you're gonna have in the purse. What you need is a $38 purse. What you need is a Larry Vuitton. Okay, maybe a Coochie bag. You know what you can get, baby? I got you. How about an assistant coach? Before I even opened for Damon Wayans, I was doing the clubs, Laugh Factory, Comedy Store, Improv, open mics, and then I became regulars at all three of them, except the Comedy Store. And I was at a club called Igby's, which was in West LA, not too far from UCLA. And a manager saw me and he's like, yo, I like your style. I was hosting. He said, let me see you do a set, which meant he didn't want to see me just do, because I hate to brag about my gift, but I have one gift, which is I can go off the top of my head real good, which is
you can.
easy for me and hard for some. And what's harder for me was to do a set, right? Because I got ADD and I like being all over the place. I like the fear of something not working. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I did a set for him. He goes, I want to do something different. I want to take you on the road with Jeff Foxworthy. I was like, excuse me? Jeff Foxworthy, the guy who wrote You Might Be a Redneck If. He goes, yeah, let's do that. So my first foray into like some decent money was me as the opening act for Jeff Foxworthy on the Redneck Tour. I was the opening.
How did that go, Chris? How did that go? Just tell me, how did that work out for you?
Our first city was Lynchburg, Virginia.
Oh, okay. I feel you, and I've been through there.
It went great. It went great. You know what I mean? Like, there's an assumption that the entire South is racist, and it's not true. Especially Jeff's audience. I mean, they might be racist, but they have 2 black friends and a black coach and stuff like that. But what my first joke was actually, after one of my shows, a guy came up to me and said, "Hey, you were a funny black comedian." I was like, "Thanks, white cowboy." So it was more that not that they were racist, but they were just ignorant because they didn't really, we weren't around.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the other jokes I used to do on stage is, there was a guy who worked with Jeff, and I don't know if he was racist, but he did stupid stuff. Like one time, like every time we played Monopoly, whenever I would land on his property, he would move. So from there, and I was friends with Sean Wayans. I started opening for Damon Wayans. And then my whole goal was, to be Eddie Murphy and to be Damon Wayans. I wanted to be a successful comedian who traveled the country doing dates. And through that, a lot of commercial opportunities happened, some films, a lot of films with the Wayans earlier on. If you look, you'll see me. And then the writing started to happen. The writing started to happen. So when you remember that after that, I got the late night talk show. Yep. Right? I got the late night talk show vibe.
Wasn't that vibe?
Yep.
Men and women have communication problems. We say the same things, but we interpret it differently. Like a girl will go, I haven't seen you in 2 days. And her man will be like, I just saw your ass 2 days ago.
Produced by Quincy Jones. And then after that, I was on the Jamie Foxx show. But what happens, I became a writer, is what happens is when you're a comedian, either you or somebody in your crew or somebody you know is going to blow up. And they're going to, like, just boom, for example, Jamie Foxx is now hosting the ESPYs. They're going to hand him some writers, a group of writers to write the show. But then he's going to want people who know his voice. Why not have the funny people around him who he started stand-up with? And that ended up being like me and Speedy and Johnny Mac and Buddy Lewis and a lot of his original cronies. And so from there, that's how the writing and producing started happening. I started writing for Cedric and the Wayans. And then when, Kevin Hart came out, I wrote for him on the BET Awards, and we created a little sketch called The Real Husbands of Hollywood, which blew up.
So Chris, let me ask you this about writing for people you know. How difficult or how much work that goes into it? Because you're going to put your best stuff out there, but sometimes they don't want it, or they want to carve it a different way. How do those conversations go with? That's
it is. It's they're the ones that are out there. So my goal,
that's right.
And the reason they hired is because I know their voice, right? So I'm gonna write. And there's going to be sometimes I'm going to give them a nudge because they might not believe in something, or they might fear something. And I'm like, trust me, it'll work. A lot of times we'll do rehearse where there's 5 people in the audience, the cameraman, extras, producers. And if the joke works, it works. If it doesn't, then we won't do it. But it's all, it's all about trust. But at the last, when it comes to the last word, it is the person who is hosting the show because his butt is the one that's on the line.
That's true. I mean, it's kind of like in football, man. The head coach has to take all the blame, but you got to bring things to him. And if he doesn't agree with it, you're going to pull that stuff out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to give their voice. Now, your most recent movie is Back on the Strip, right? That came out in February.
It's coming out. It's coming out in August. It was originally supposed to come out in February. Yeah, it was originally supposed to come out in February. You're correct. It's coming out August 18th, starring Wesley Snipes, Tiffany Haddish, Bill Bellamy, Faison Love, J.B. Smooth, Gary Owen. This young cat who played the young Jonathan Majors in Creed. His name is Spence Moore. It's gonna be. It's a pretty funny comedy.
Well, man, I can't wait to see it. And I'm imagining when you're on the set with those guys, it's just nonstop. I mean, it's all day, right?
Listen, it was so much fun. People would come to the set the days they weren't working just so they could hang out. Even when they said, and cut, okay, JB, you can go home. JB didn't go home. He wanted to hang out.
One thing I want to ask you is, man, you and your wife, y'all did a great podcast. And I know
Thank you, man.
Tell me about that and what was the impetus for that? How did that come up with you and her?
So
Vanessa?
During the pandemic, people were trying to figure out things to do. We saw David Foster do things with having musical artists on. We saw the birth of the great D Nice, who really saved us during that time by playing music while we were all trapped in the house. And a lot of other DJs started doing it. Jazzy Jeff, Flex, DJ Kid Capri, Biz Markie. But nobody had the impact like D Nice did, because for some special reason he got to play 24 music. He got to play music 24 hours when everybody else's stuff got cut off in an hour. And so while we were watching that, we were like, my wife, I'm gonna give her all the credit. She's like, yo, we pitched the show. Actually, we pitched this show to Kevin Hart's company. We were about to do it on Heartbeat LOL radio, and the pandemic hit. And then we were like, what are we going to do? And she's like, you know what? Then this was my idea. Let's not waste no time. Let's do what Derek's doing, which is nice. And just put Instagram. And, it just became a hit. I mean, we had everybody from Tiffany Haddish to Deion Cole. We had the great Rodney and Holly Pete. We had Boris and Nicole. We had Dondre and Sally Whitfield. I mean, we had famous authors, it was crazy. It was just nuts, the amount of guests that we were able to get.
When did you know you could move a crowd every time?
You get a certain arrogance You know, it depends. It depends. With the white audience, they're a little bit more forgiving, right? They're like, you know what? He's got to be funny. I paid my money to see him. He's on stage. He's a professional. Let's go, buddy. Black people be like, yo, you done made me pay my money to come all the way down here. My cousin is Cat Williams, so you better be funny as him. Or I'm as funny as most black comedians. A lot of them got on stage because they thought they were funnier than the person they went to go see that night.
That's true. That's true.
We just have a certain swag and arrogance about us. And so actually, you know, I was doing a lot of mainstream rooms, and then I would come and do the Comedy Act Theater with Robin Harris or the Funhouse with Anthony Brown. And it wasn't until, you know, it took me a while to actually get my black thumb on the pulse of black comedy because, you know, they believe in, they don't want to smell no fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they could smell fear on me earlier. And I would end up trying to overcuss or be over sexual. And they just were like, they knew that's not who I was. Right. So Damon Wayans and you know, being on the road with him, you always hear like you imitate somebody, right? So I was basically trying to imitate Damon in terms of my swag, my dress, my bravado. But it wasn't until I started. No, then it was I remember the night that I was like, I gotta get this stuff together. I was bombing one night at the Palace in Hollywood, and TK Kirkland was the host. And he's the one that said, man, you got to go stand at the edge of the stage and let them know you are funny and you ain't scared of them. And from that day is when I started to win. And that same advice, if you ever interview Trevor Noah, I hear interviews, he mentions to me, people, that I'm the one that got him to get his black comedy voice.
Without further ado, ladies, the chocolate chips! It's showtime, brother.
Hey, let's go with a bang, guys.
Bang, bang.
Beat this! Bang, bang, or bang, 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 bang? Your bangs up, you probably your bangs up too high.
Yeah, he overbanging.
The story is about a young guy named Spence Moore, who's a magician. And he loses his girl, so he decides to move to Vegas and work on his magic, right? He's a magician. And through a series of events, with him being a horrible magician, he needs to make money, he needs to pay rent. He ends up becoming a male stripper. And Wesley Snipes, who kind of plays like, he was the leader of the strippers back 25 years ago, you know, without giving the movie away, he can't strip anymore. So Spence Moore, he's like, yo, I got my lead man. Let me go find the rest of the guys. Smooth. I promise you, Tiffany Haddish is absolutely incredible. Yeah. So yes, I will get you a poster. I will get you the trailer, whatever you need. But yes, we're going hard with the promotions.
Well, we can't wait till it comes out. I got to ask you though a little bit about UCLA. We were talking about it before, and oh man, we had some great times. But you saw a lot of good athletes come through there, man. What you know, I know football is probably your sport you like. I know you like basketball. You're a baskball guy. Want to be in the gym and shoot the jumper.
Yes,
so we had some great basketball.
Since I'm talking to you, yes, football was my favorite.
But what was that experience? Because I mean, as much trash as you talk on the basketball court, when I remember, were you talking that much trash in the stadium when we were playing back in the day?
Absolutely, I loved y'all. I really admired any person that was playing Division I sports. I wanted to be you. I wanted to be Pooh. I wanted to be, you know, Big Greg Foster.
Oh yeah, Big G.
I wanted to be Trevor Wilson.
Yeah.
I wanted to be Eric Turner, God rest his soul.
Oh,
he was one of the most phenomenal athletes I'd ever seen in my entire life.
We were in the same class, man, 86, and that was unbelievable to watch all of those guys that came through and that played, but Eric leaving the earth early, man, that was a tough one for all of us. What were your memories?
Bowman Pfeiffer. I remember I remember Roman Pfeiffer dunking on me in the men's gym. I was running side by side with him, and all of a sudden he jumped, and it felt like he picked me up, and I was on the side of him like Peter Pan and Tinkerbell, and he banged on me. And I was like, how did he do that?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of guys, I mean, see, I
Yeah.
played hoop growing up, so people would think, you can't move. But if you got my way, I was going to get you too.
No, a lot of y'all could have played college basketball. Eric Nelson, J.J. Stokes,
Oh, yeah. Now,
Carlton Gray. Oh, Carlton was.
JJ could jump out. Yeah, Carlton could hoop. Yeah, and the thing was, they didn't like us playing IM because we get with the volleyball guys
Dominates.
that could jump out and dominate. Yeah,
Listen,
those
you
are
remember who
good.
Troy had game, remember? Aikman.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Aikman could fill it up. Now,
Oh,
that's the thing.
you know
I
who
don't
else
think who's that? Tommy Maddox had mad game.
No, Bobby San Jose. Remember that name?
Oh, yeah. Bobby was in our class.
Game.
Yeah, he was in 86. Rest his soul, Oh,
you know who I
goodness.
played with the most?
Who was that?
Mark McGill
McGillicuddy.
and Frank Cornish. God rest in peace.
Now you want to talk about a funny dude. Frank,
Oh,
if he had ever,
my
talk to me, Chris.
God.
Just tell
Ladies and
people
gentlemen,
on this
boys and
show,
girls, Frank Cornish was a comedic genius.
he was one of the funniest human beings I've ever been around, Chris. The funniest
I agree.
dude, man.
I agree.
I mean,
I love that man. Oh,
he would come out to practice.
laugh.
Look, he would come out to practice and he had this little black glove that barely fit his hand. Say, corn dog, what you doing? Oh, I'm the humbler is coming out today.
Hilarious.
Oh man, yeah,
he was
would
so
keep
funny.
him and Lawrence Berkeley on the little bitty scooter, and Frank's
Lawrence
about 305.
Berkeley. Yes, I love Lawrence.
So how much
Brian
of
Brown.
your UCLA? Oh, B. Brown. Yeah, how much of your writing comes from those times? When you think about stuff and just crazy stuff that you do in your shows, or some of the stuff that you can think of, just funny crap that we all experience that you put in. Did you put any of that in the movies or your comedy?
Yes, when I was writing on the TV series, I was an executive producer on Grownish. I brought all of that, all of my experience living in the dorms, and we did episodes on interracial dating, and how we all used to creep with the white girls, and we'd have our backpack with us so it looked like we were studying.
Roman would always say he's going to the vending, right?
Vending
machine. Oh
yes.
yeah, those are good times, man. Well, man, I know you're driving. I don't want to keep all your time, but we gotta
talk about one more thing.
Yeah, talk to me.
I just shot my comedy special.
Okay. Yep.
I just shot an hour special, and hopefully, I got a verbal from Netflix, so hopefully it'll be on Netflix. And it's called Chris Spenser, Don't Call It a Comeback.
All right. What is some of the material we need to be prepared for? Because we'll pop it up here. We will, but don't call it a comeback.
I'm talking about being 50 and me going to the doctor. The last time I got my prostate checked, he had his finger in my butt a little too long. And I was like, yo, my man, I said, what are we looking for? And then, why is your finger in my butt in 2023? You don't have an app?
So the big thing is the little things in life you're going to pull out and bring them to life.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. Growing up with Jamaican parents, being married to a Puerto Rican woman, raising kids in private school, all of that is coming out.
I love your stories and your little vignettes on your dad. Now he was.
Oh yeah.
I mean, those are hilarious. When you bring those out about your dad, tell what was the funniest thing he's ever done to you that you may not have ever told or said? Because he said some things and I just crack up. See, he's a comedic genius in my mind. I don't even know your pops.
Oh my God. I put this in my special. We saw this pregnant woman. And my dad comes from a generation where you could say stuff and not get in trouble. Right? Not only the generation, but there is no sexual harassment in Jamaica. If you say something rude to a woman in Jamaica, she gonna say something even ruder back. So we're at my kids' track meet, and there's a pregnant lady. And he goes, how many months pregnant are you? She was like 6. She goes, let me know when you're ready to have another. I said, hey, man, you can't talk like that to these people. Are you out of your mind?
And he has no regard. He's just like, yeah, that's me.
He's a dirty old man.
Oh, man. I can't wait to meet your pop. I can't wait for your special. Now, we do something on here called the 2-minute drill. So we're going to get you in it. And it's just rapid fire questions. All you got to do is the first thing comes to mind. Steak or seafood? Steak or fish?
Seafood all day.
Okay. Yep. Have you always been that way, or has that been lately as you've gotten older?
Absolutely. The last time I enjoyed steak like that was Sproul Hall's summer of '88.
Those rubbery steaks.
Remember they'd have steak night.
Yeah. So you got the mountains in Cali, which everybody loves, but are you a PCH guy? When you want to just go think and blow off what is mountains, or is it the ocean, the PCH?
I like that ocean.
Yeah, that ocean ain't nothing better. Yeah. Man, whenever
calming.
I used to drive from Texas, the first thing I do is take the 10 all the way to the PCH and go up to about Pepperdine and just, I said, because one day I was going to have a house out there. I don't have a house out there, but I knew I was going to have something, right?
Right. It's so beautiful.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
So what's in the Apple Music or Spotify? What you got popping right now?
I've been on this reggae thing recently.
Okay.
And so, of course, Bob Marley, but Jimmy Cliff, Ziggy Marley, Toots and the Maytals, a lot of old, my family's Jamaican, so I got old Rita Marley. I got old stuff you guys probably don't know. I mean, you remember, what was Eddie? I can't remember his last name, but a whole bunch of old stuff like that. Even some of the newer stuff, even some Shabba, all
the
some
stuff
Shaggy.
that everybody. Okay.
Yeah, the mainstream stuff. Yeah,
when you go to Jamaica, you go home. What's the first dish you're gonna get when you get off the plane? What is it that you want when you roll back to Jamaica?
Ackee and saltfish. Ackee is a fruit, but it's cooked more like a vegetable. And it looks like eggs when you see it. And they cook it with onions and they cook it with codfish. And they call it saltfish. And as a kid, I thought it was ugly and horrible. And now that I'm grown, it's my favorite thing in the world. You got ackee and saltfish with some rice and peas, or you can have it with white rice. And you have green banana, and you can have plantain.
Man, you're making me hungry, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's good to finally get you.
All day, every day.
Netflix special is coming out at some point. Chris Spenser, don't call it a comeback. We're looking for that. Yep. And then the movie in August.
August 18th to be exact.
August 18th. Back on the strip. We got it covered, and once it all happens, man, we're gonna get you back on and do some more of this. I can't wait to come out to one of your shoots and have people joining, because I know that's all y'all doing all day long, having a good time.
Oh my God. Understatement.
So Chris, what's your Instagram so we can make sure people know where to follow you and how to keep up with you?
Right. So for people my age and younger, my Instagram is The Real Chris Spenser. For those of you who are a little older, Facebook, Chris Spenser. For those of you who are incarcerated, MySpace, Chris Spenser. For those of you my mom's age and older, Black Planet is Chris Spenser.
Well, man, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And, thanks for coming on the show.
Join us each week and a new celebrity guest on Chopping It Up with Buck. Brought to you by Thin Energy, thinenergy.com.